Well, hello everyone. Nice to see you, and nice to have us here for this talk on diverse perspectives on education and the future of education. So perhaps I might begin with an introduction. Would you like to introduce yourselves, and then maybe we can continue with the talk?
Okay, yeah. So, hi, my name is Jannat. I'm from India. I came here when I was 3 years old. So, I didn't really experience I'm in school in India, but yeah, I did most of my education in Canada and I just graduated.
Hi, my name is Munir. I'm from Afghanistan. I came last year and I just graduated from high school.
Okay, nice to have you.
Hi, I am Kaivalya Pandya and I came from India. I finished my grade 10 in India and I did grade 11 and now I'll be going into grade 12.
That's great. And I'm Anita Ogurlu, and I'm a lecturer at the university. And I'm basically educated in Canada, but then I did my higher education in Istanbul and my PhD in London, in England. So I sort of have a diverse background with education and different exposures to different kinds of education. So how shall we begin?
Yeah, I think you can start.
Yeah, so as per my research on the education system is mainly divided into two parts, Western and Eastern. And Western education system is basically the part of US, Canada, and other countries are also included. But mainly this includes hands-on learning, practical knowledge, and that stuff. While Eastern education system is more of theoretical knowledge and a competitive environment. And although it's very similar, like when a child is going into primary school, it goes from primary to high school and then from university. But the method of their education is very different because they have to develop their own perspective because of their own problems, because Eastern part of the world is slightly more populated than Western. So they needed to go with a more competitive environment than Western. So that's the main difference that I found on my research. Now I would like to hand out to Jannat to continue on the Eastern part of Western education system.
Yeah, so I think like Canada has, like all the other countries, there's like not a various amounts of way that education is given out that adapts to every individual. However, a bigger issue that I would like to talk about is probably the lack of Indigenous perspective and Indigenous history within the Canadian education system. And the reason why this is such a huge problem is because for Canada, a country that prides itself for being multicultural and embracing diversity, Canada still has some major issues with the divide between Indigenous and non-Indigenous groups. And so what we look at is within statistics, we see that there's higher rates of incarceration rates in Indigenous populations than non-Indigenous populations. And there's a higher amount of Indigenous people under the poverty line compared to any other group of people. And so for these reasons, it truly shows us that there's something that's happening within Canada's society that's a big problem. But these statistics alone, when other people see them without the education, this promotes the stereotypes that we have. And because our education system doesn't properly delve in how these historical injustices have caused the current events of today, we see that there is this divide, this racism continues to grow.
Actually, I want to go with the educational system back when I was in Afghanistan. Not now, because for now it's like kind of messed up. When I was in Afghanistan, the educational system was like we had 12th grade, also the same as everywhere in the world. And students, the educational system was kind of like the teachers were forcing students or scaring them to study. And most of the time, and most of the students were not getting that education the way that they're supposed to get. Like, we had so much subjects and so much pressure on students, and they had lots of stuff more than school also, so they were kind of scared and not get what they want really from the system. And And about the schools, that they were all around the country in Afghanistan, it was far away from like 1 mile or 2 miles from the homes. Like most of the students, they were not educated because the schools were not closer to their houses. So I was at the recent years of my school, so I was in private school, and we had a lot of subjects and works to do, and lots of pressure on the students. And I think that's the educational system, and I think most of the problems that there existed in Afghanistan, and they're related to educational system. Because if the students get educated very well and they know all about how to behave, or what skills they need to be in the community, and how to live a good life, the country will be a better place to live.
Okay. So then whatever you see at school sort of sets out that model for how larger society should be, which is, I suppose, for the betterment of society and humanity, maybe.
Yeah.
So now a little bit of a critical question. Do you feel that's happening in your school that you go to? Do you feel that the socialization process works well for everyone? You mentioned Indigenous largely being left out.
Yeah.
I just wonder how you might feel as newer students in Canada. Do you feel also that perhaps your ideas and knowledge from outside of Canada can be integrated into the learning, or you feel that's not the case, or maybe it's somewhere in between?
Yeah. Actually, it's kind of different for each subject. Like the subjects that they have lots of group works and like discussions or something. History is the best subject that involves all the students together and share their ideas, and all the students are able to know each other more. And this subjects like math, they are all individual. They're just solving the problems, and they're not there to like. In this previous quarter that I had math foundation 30. It was my first class that I was in a class with Canadians. Like most of my class was like the other immigrants, and in this class it was math, and I was trying to involve like with the Canadians and know more about them, but all of the staff was individually. So yeah,
because it was a math class.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
So when you see at the classroom level, when you go to the classroom and check every student what they're doing, so when they're asked to do work on their own self-assessment, what they will do is put on their headphones and just do their own work. So that's the thing, that the willingness of people to connect and to group discuss everything, that's on the people itself, and I see a bit less over here.
So it was different in
yes.
another setting.
Yes, I came from India. So over India, there are no cell phones allowed in school and nothing. It's very strict. And yes, we have to, because there are no cell phones allowed, we try to do group discussions, because we have no technology on our hand and we just have books. And sometimes I don't know the thing that he knows. And sometimes he don't know the thing that I know. So we will eventually we will talk, and then
Nice.
learn.
So
yes.
there's learning from each other as well.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
part of the socialization,
Yes.
isn't it? Than just if it's individual on your phone or
Yes.
whatever.
So
Okay.
technology has also changed the way that we do our stuff.
Yeah. Okay. And speaking of, you mentioned again the Indigenous content. So how many of your ideas, your global knowledge and different ideas, different perspectives get discussed, let's say in a class where you bring new ideas? Does that happen frequently? Outside of, obviously not in math, but...
Yeah, I would say it really depends, because like, for example, there's some classes where you are invited to bring your culture and stuff. Like, for example, in my English 30 class, one of the things that the teacher asked us was to bring a poem, and we could choose like to bring that poem from our culture or our language and just explain what it's like and, analyze it.
That's good.
And so I think like you have moments of that, but a lot of our education is, again, Eurocentric, and with that education system. So it really depends. Also, when you look at history textbooks, it's more apparent, but also in other textbooks, you'll see, like when we talk about science and stuff like that, you might not see like Indigenous, things that Indigenous people have found as well. You don't see those credited things. Also, like, chemistry and these kind of things.
That's right. Physics.
Yeah,
a lot of older
and so
knowledge.
like, you don't see like everything you hear about. Oh, this scientist from this European country and this person. So
Right.
I think
there are classes that promote that culturalism because of their syllabus like that, but we do not have enough time in the whole semester to do that, because it's a 6-month semester and we have some of the particular chapters and the units that we need to complete for that. So yeah, we do have, but it's very limited. So what we are suggesting is like have a separate class for that, which promotes all culturalism and brings all the cultures together. And the main thing about that would be like it do not have a specific curriculum to set. The curriculum is decided on based off a discussion. So that would promote more of the all the ideas from students.
Okay, so more global perspective on current events or something. Can you tell more about what this class would be like?
So this class is, we are basically proposing it online class so that more people can join, and it would be named like a World's Event class. In this, yes, you would discuss all the current events, all the past events, and it would be guided by a teacher who is good in that area.
Okay.
And yes, every student will bring their own ideas.
And then I was thinking, so we could have multiple ways that we teach our students, right? Because not everyone learns the same ways. And so maybe we'd have field trips for certain students in certain areas, like, okay, we're learning about science about this plant, we'll go to that area and we'll research about it, or something like that, in which it kind of invokes the curiosity that people have, and also makes them feel like they can do it, because I feel like sometimes we, at least in the classroom, we think there's that smart kid, then there's the rest of us, or like the people who aren't making it. And so I think that because of this kind of academic hierarchy, you could say, a lot of people who are not doing that well, or maybe are on the average side of the education, like with marks, they don't feel like they can get to the highest mark because they don't think, like, they don't trust themselves, or they don't believe that they're good enough.
So I think that everything is online now, right? And even just recently, we heard about ChatGPT, or the new AI technology, and how that might affect education, specifically, at all levels, right? So just briefly before we end, I'm curious what some of your thoughts are on different perspectives on artificial intelligence and learning. Does it help us become better? Where do you see it going?
So there are two parts to it. For the primary part, when we are in developing stage, so we need to not lean forward to AI for help, and mainly I would prefer to go on for the books and the physical things, and to learn from class. And when you go to university, you can slightly depend more on AI. And after the university, when you're doing a job, so AI would be very, very beneficial for that part, because it revolutionized the technologies. And before ChatGPT, everyone was trying to go into the AI part, but not really. They were not really there. After seeing ChatGPT, now Google has done that. Elon Musk is trying to do that. And everyone is trying to achieve that AI. So it really boosts the technology. But for the high school and the primary school part, it's not good.
It boosts technology, but does it boost learning? Does it make a better world, a better understanding of one another?
I think that we've gone to a point, we can't just go back, right? And I think like it's now part of like our education, like it will be, it'll be there. I don't know how helpful it is, because it really, again, it's a lot easier, especially with the pandemic, it was a lot easier to cheat. And so now when we're coming here with ChatGPT, it's like, oh, I don't gotta think about my essay, I can just use ChatGPT. And so I just don't know if it's really helpful in that case. But then again, it could be used for learning, like you said, it could be used in that sense.
Your thoughts?
Yeah. And I think that we cannot stop that, and it's coming, and daily it's improving. And I don't know about the university stuff. That's how the professors are gonna manage this problem that the students are gonna use ChatGPT. But it's a part of our community now, and I think the good point is this, that we have to be fast and improve our skills that the AI cannot like reach it. I don't know what skills clearly, but I think it's gonna take everything, and it's terrible to think about it. We also discussed about AI in the computer science class, and everyone was shocked. And I think daily it's improving too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to maybe close this talk, I'd just like to share with you something that I learned just this morning. Speaking of Indigenous, we had a small talk online with an Indigenous knowledge keeper who's talked about experiential learning and how if you want to teach somebody what a river is, you just take them by the hand, you put their hand in the river, and they feel the cold water and they feel the river, and it's a relationship that is created between the knowledge keeper and the person learning about the river. Very simple example, but it comes back to what you were talking about when you're having a discussion in class and you put away your phones and you discuss and you learn from one another, and maybe that makes us better humans. I don't know. Food for thought. But thank you for a great discussion, and I really good luck with your education and with being a better person and people for future.